Picture it, Los Angeles, 2026. Welcome to Out on the Lanai, the only Golden Girls podcast you're ever going to need to listen to. I am HAlanScott. Now, Kerri is off this week because, baby, she got Coco, little Oreo and Coco at home. We officially are nicknaming the new baby Coco, which I love so much, Coco and little Oreo. But she's off this week because of babies. And so this week, I will be joined by total friend of the pod, fabulous Golden Girls podcaster, Barrett from So Good We Named It. We had so much fun together. We chatted about the season 1, episode 4 episode Transplant. The one where Virginia says, Don Blanche. There's a reason why Barrett wanted to watch this episode, but I'm going to let him say that for himself when we come back in just a little bit. So much fun this episode. I actually learned something about the actress who plays Virginia. It's Cherie North. I can't get her name right, and I'm sorry. God rest her soul. But she is fantastic, and I learned something about her in my research that is kind of eerie in terms of the storyline of this episode. You're definitely going to want to stick around for that. We also talked, of course, a lot about whether we would give not each other kidneys. Maybe I asked him if he'd give me his kidney. I don't think he's going to give me his kidney, but whether if you would give like a family member a kidney. I think I would. I'm pretty sure that I would. But Barrett has some things to say. So we had a lot of fun chatting about this episode. I particularly liked Sophia in this episode. But yeah, there's lots to discuss in this episode. Also on the Rusty Anchor Happy Hour, I am flying solo. So it's another unhinged time with me on the Rusty Anchor Happy Hour because you're just dying for some unhinged moments with me, aren't you? Aren't you? So yeah, stick around because I will be right back with Barrett from So Good We Named It to talk about the season 1, episode 4 episode Transplant. So we'll be right back. Yay. Barrett, welcome back to the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Oh, everyone knows how I'm doing. It's more about you right now. So because you haven't been on the podcast in a minute. So let's do a catch up. How's life? How's things? How are the people who egerly listen to So Good We Named It? What do you want to say to them listening to this podcast?
Well, let me catch you up. You see, it's later that same day. I know that I have not been very consistent with posting new episodes, but that's only because I want everyone to catch up on all of the previous episodes before I post all of the new ones. That's the only reason. And there are many still in the Disney vault waiting to be released. Yes. And more that I do want to continue to record, even if it takes me another 10 years. So the next one will probably be with your pal and confidant, Elliot, which I recorded probably 6 years ago. But the point is, it's still going to go up.
Yes. Elliot is a friend of the pod, friend of the fam, friend of my lifetime, everything. And that'll be great. I can't wait to listen to that. And it's so great to have you back. Now, you picked this episode. Why did you pick this episode?
Well, I picked this episode because, plug it, I have another podcast as if I don't have enough that I don't keep up with. But this one is going to be about the UPN show Half and Half, which is about two estranged sisters who try to rebuild their relationship. And that podcast will be the Big Half and Half Rewatch Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at the Big Half and Half Pod. And I figured, okay, well, I know I want to do an episode about sisters, and there's a lot of episodes about sisters. But this one I felt like was the closest to the dynamic of the characters of Mona and Dee Dee on Half and Half. Because every other episode, there's a lot more going on besides just a little tiff. It's, I'm sleeping with your ex-husband. I'm writing a book about you. So this one seemed a little bit more normal as well.
Normal, even though it is life and death.
Yeah, other than that, I mean, besides that, it's 40 years of not talking because
that's
you moved
true.
Your goat.
That is very true. And I'm so glad you did choose this episode because I love Virginia. There is something about Virginia that she doesn't seem like she would be Blanche's sister because she's a little too chill. Do you know what I mean? She's a little too there's a slowness to the way she talks, and I guess that is kind of Blanche, but with Blanche, she's very, like, perky. You know what I mean?
Yes, I feel like a lot of people in the Hollingsworth family are very theatrical and over the
Yeah.
top, but Virginia is very laid back and just like, "I said what I said."
Now, do you know much? Because I did a deep dive into the actress who plays Virginia, Sheree North. Do you know much? Is it Cherie or Sheree?
I think I'll say Cherie.
Cherie, yeah. Well,
Like,
either works. We're gonna call her Virginia for the rest of it. But
yeah.
do you know much about this actress? Because I was blown away by some of her
I
history.
know that she's Kramer's mom on Seinfeld. I know that
Yes.
much.
Yes, she is
That's about
famously
it.
Kramer's mom on Seinfeld, which is incredible. She also appeared on 2 episodes, obviously, of The Golden Girls. She also played Lou Grant's girlfriend on Mary Tyler Moore Show for a number of episodes. She starred alongside Elliot Gould and Barbara Streisand in the Broadway show that they met in 1962, something Wholesale, I think it was called. But she was in that show with them. But what is crazy about me is I can get it for you wholesale is the name of the show, of the Broadway show. But what's crazy about her history is that she was supposed to be a replacement for Marilyn Monroe. So
Oh,
in the 50s, she was signed to, I think it was 20th Century Fox, and Marilyn Monroe was notoriously at that point in her career really unstable and really unreliable. And so they were looking for an actress who was also as gorgeous as Marilyn Monroe to kind of be the Marilyn if Marilyn couldn't finish a job. And there were even some projects in which she was like, potentially in the works to be in. And I'm going to text you this picture and I'll put it on the screen for everyone watching. But
I'm a little
there,
shocked by this revelation.
I mean, yeah, but you see a picture of her. She's on the cover of Life magazine in 1955, I think it was. And
Oh,
she looks like Marilyn.
I would have never assumed that that was Virginia. Work.
Right? Work, right? So yeah, I mean, that's not you can please watch the episode on Patreon or YouTube so you can see the picture of her. We'll also like post it on our stories and stuff. But oh my God, Sheree or Cherie, whatever her name is, she is. And what's crazy, actually, no, I'm gonna when we get towards the end of this episode, there's a parallel thing that happened to Sheree/Cherie, um, in her death that is similar to this episode, and we'll get to it. But I have a clip of it later on. But so stay tuned for that. But this woman, she lived. She had a career.
And as I have mentioned before, and you and everyone, that so many of these people from Golden Girls, that's what we know them for. And they've done so much more
So
beyond the
much.
little bit part that we know them for.
Yeah.
And a lot of fans, casual especially, have no idea about any of that.
Well, that's why what you and I do is so great because we can give people context for these people's careers and we can go look and explore and do whole episodes on this.
Exactly.
I mean, I would love to do a whole episode doing a deep dive into her career. We should do whole episodes of deep dives into the guest stars in the Golden Girls. Oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to text Kerri about that. Yeah, no, that's so, yeah. So I love this woman. I was blown away that she was the next Marilyn, kind of blown away. But in this episode, now this episode, we all know she's dying, Blanche.
Yeah.
I'm dying, Blanche. And so, but we don't know that quite yet at the beginning of the episode. So she's coming to town, and Blanche is cleaning like there is no tomorrow. She's stressed out. Now, do you have siblings, Barrett?
I do, and I often think about the fact that most people don't know that because I don't talk about them like a lot of people would. I
Yeah.
actually have 3 sisters,
Okay.
and I can relate to Blanche.
So when they come to visit, do you furiously clean and get ready?
Only one of them has even been to my home,
Oh,
um, but I assume in a scenario where they would be invited that it would be the same. My parents are from the South, so no, it could be the mailman, and you have to
mm.
do a deep clean because heaven forbid. So
See, I'm different. I don't give a fuck about my brothers. They can see any like if they do want to come out here, which they don't come out to LA that often because they all live in Missouri. But like if they do, you're gonna see it how you're gonna see it. There's nothing I'm gonna do to try to impress you. Trust me. Like that is family to me is I definitely come from the school of Sophia in this episode where it's just sort of like it's family. You just do it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't think I'd be stressing so much about cleaning, but Blanche certainly is, and she sets up that there is this long history of a sort of a battle between her and her sister. Now, you and your siblings, do you have that relationship as well, or do you compete for things?
So, as the baby and most important, most loved, I don't have a lot of those issues. I
Uh-huh.
still would probably, maybe I would be like Sophia in another episode, which I think a sister was coming and she said, "Why not let them see how you really live so they won't want to stay long?" No, that was Lucy when Lucy came. So
Yeah.
I might do that depending on the sister. But the one that's closest in age to me and we more so grew up together, I think we have a lot of that. I do recall a time where I may have pushed her down the stairs,
Oh,
but I believe it was
wow.
warranted at that time.
My
So,
brother once threw a Coke can at my head.
was it
That
empty?
No, no, it
Oh,
was full. It was full of Coke,
mm,
and, so that hurt. But no, I don't really have I definitely don't feel competitive with my siblings in any way, mainly because 'cause they're boring.
yeah.
They tend to be I mean, they're very I tend to be the showier one. I'm sure you probably have that too. I tend to be the showier one of the bunch, and so I don't think I worry about competition too
Yeah,
much.
how can you compete with this? So, they're on a whole different level.
We're so full of ourselves. But so Go ahead.
It's true. That's
It's
true.
true, it's true, it's true. So meanwhile, Dorothy brings home a baby because one of the people, the neighbors, they're having the baby, someone's in the hospital, she agrees to watch the baby. I don't understand this storyline, and how it is any way sort of, an accompaniment to the Blanche sister storyline, because it feels very random to me. Does it feel random to you?
Yeah, this is not B story material. Maybe C story, maybe D story, but
Uh-huh.
it doesn't it happens so frequently that I
Yeah.
conflate them, and I
Yeah.
was thinking this was the one where she ends up having triplets, but no, that's
Uh,
probably Frank, or maybe it's this other time. They are always getting saddled with these random babies out of nowhere, and it's hard
it's
to keep
true.
up.
But this one didn't seem to go anywhere, because even when they were talking about the baby, it wasn't like they were reminiscing about being moms. It wasn't like they were reminiscing about really anything other than just how they're keeping the baby awake at night. Like, that's kind of all the baby was used for, was for Dorothy to have a prop and to have a whole table scene where they talk about keeping the baby up at night. Like, I don't maybe people listeners, please explain if you have deeper thoughts on this storyline, please share.
Yeah.
I
Didn't
didn't see
really
it.
go anywhere.
It
I kept
it didn't.
waiting for something to occur, and
Yeah.
this was the only time, again, where a kid or baby comes where they aren't about to adopt it or feel like they have to keep it, like
Yeah.
every other time. Only thing we just kept having Blanche say, "Is that baby still here? Why is he
Yeah.
still here?"
Well,
Every other scene.
it reminds me of, I kept thinking of, there's that other episode, and I always confuse the episodes again because there's so many baby episodes, or random baby episodes. But there's one in which there's a baby. Oh, it's the one where the parents are potentially like they drop the baby off and whatever. And there was the same storyline, I think, as Sophia's friend who wanted to die by suicide. And I think it was in that same
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
And at the end of the episode, Sophia has a really cute moment where she connected life and loving life with this kid having a full life ahead of them. And that was beautiful writing. I mean, that the symbiotic nature of those two stories really, really worked. And I kind of think they could have done the same with this in a way. You know what I mean? It could have had a really tender Blanche moment where she connects the joy of life and of giving life, which she would have had to give with giving this kidney, to this baby having a full life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they kinda tease it, they make you think a couple of times that that's where it's gonna go, and
Yeah.
then they go right back to just "Oisy boysy boy," whatever the Arthur's saying to this baby, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay, it's cute, but, didn't really make a
Yeah.
difference."
Well, so we see whenever Virginia gets there, we see that this relationship, I mean, Virginia is clearly trying to do something. I think Virginia should have came out and said that she was dying a little early on. She kind of like clearly there's a past relationship with Blanche that is contentious and that is like combative and is competitive and all of the C words. And
Um,
instead, she doesn't really say anything until they eventually have, right? When did she say she was dying?
at dinner
At
or
dinner,
lunch,
yes.
and you're in a public place, so she can't even respond how she wants to respond, you're
Yeah.
cornering her. I hope Virginia at least paid because that's a lot to put on somebody. I'm like, "My
See, I'm
god."
sorry. If someone tells me they're dying, I kind of feel obligated to pay.
Really? Yeah, I guess maybe.
Because, I mean, they're dying.
Would
Like,
be
they're
nice.
going through something. The least you can do is pick up lunch.
Well, not like she needs the money, so I don't know. I guess maybe they went Dutch. Perhaps that would be the
Can you
amicable.
imagine? Can you imagine? No, put yourself in this situation. Barrett, you and I are out to lunch, and I tell you, Barrett, I'm dying. And then the check comes, and I tell you this whole thing about how I'm afraid to die, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, I guess if I'm asking you for something, maybe I would feel obliged to
Mhm.
pay. But I would, if I was on the receiving end, I feel like no matter what, even if I'm asking for a kidney, I still would be like, "You're dying, let me get it." You know?
I'd say I'm gonna Venmo you later, and then just hope you die before I have to do it. And
And then my response would be, "Well, I guess you're not in the will."
yeah, I mean, this was an interesting introduction, and it does kind of vindicate Blanche because she did say she knew she wanted something, and boy,
Mhm.
did she ever.
Mhm. I
That was
mean,
more than a poodle skirt.
more than a poodle skirt, but also too, I feel like, I mean, clearly Blanche was aware that Virginia wants something, like you said, and clearly she does want something. So, like, what are you waiting for, Virginia? Just ask the question.
Especially with the surgery apparently already booked, whether or not you have a donor. What type of insurance did she have?
I
But
know.
I just feel that she did really like bum rush her and corner her. You haven't spoken in how long? You come to visit. Like, that was very manipulative of you, Virginia, I must say.
I mean, but then again, she gets a little bit of a pass because when you find out you're dying, I have a feeling you're a little overwhelmed with lots of things. So, like, you're probably not thinking so rationally. I don't know. No one's ever told me I'm dying. I mean, I had cancer before, so I guess close to it, but like, not like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and she still looked good for her to be so
I
close to
mean,
death.
God,
I
if
must
we
say, work.
only all could look that good while we're dying, that's
Yeah.
really because I firmly believe that, like, I don't want to live past 75 because I know those years suck.
Ugh.
75 and older, that sucks. Like, I'm already in pain. So, like, I can't imagine what 75 is gonna be like, you know what I mean? And so,
Hey.
I'm kinda like, I don't know. I'm kinda like, "Okay, well, I guess if I gotta if I gotta tell my sister, I'm gonna be chill about it?" I don't know.
I mean, I am going to make it to at least 100. That has been my goal for a while. And any friends of mine, if you're still alive, I'll take us all on a trip around the world. I mean,
You
most
think you're
won't
gonna be
make it.
that's the prop you're not gonna be able to afford it. Let me tell you this, because if you live too long, you gotta save a shit ton of money. I'm never gonna have that kind of money.
Well, I expect most of my friends, if not all, to be deceased by the time I turn 100, so I can promise anything. But I would like to think that I'll have enough, maybe some type of investments or, the will. Although with my mother, she'll probably still be alive as well at that point. But I'll just move back in with her. But I think that for Virginia, maybe her life did flash before her eyes and she had to make a snap decision in
Yeah.
her
Well,
haste.
she made it, and now Blanche, she comes home and she tells the girls that she's unsure what she's gonna do. I
Mm.
like, what would your response be if your sister asked you for a kidney?
Depends on the sister.
Does it
Um,
really?
yes. Not that I'm really close with any of them, but there's one that I'd give it to. The
So
other
you wouldn't
2,
give it to the others?
no. I mean, what have they ever given me other than grief?
I
So, I mean, I'll
mean,
let if they are ever listening, I'll let
Barrett.
you decide who gets it. But, yeah, only one of them. The other 2,
Wow.
I don't
See, here's my thinking. I would definitely give it to any of my siblings, not because I love them, although I do, but because I know for the rest of my life, whatever I want, I'm gonna get.
true, true. And I guess if it was life and death and they couldn't just go to
It's
DaVita, get a
definitely life and death,
dialysis,
Barrett. It's
you
definitely life
know,
and death.
why was dialysis not mentioned in this scenario? But I suppose let me think about it. Let me sleep on it, and then I
You see,
change
you're
my
like
mind.
Blanche. You got to think about it. I'm Sophia in this situation where I'm like, Barrett, snap it together. Well, and that gets to, I mean, Blanche comes home and says that she's unsure and they have, they're all kind of still dealing with the baby and shit. And they're all sort of, but again, the baby's not really doing anything. So the baby's kind of irrelevant to this whole story. But Blanche comes home and she basically tells the girls that she's unsure and they're kind of overwhelmed, like shocked by it in a way. Not like upset by it because they do see that like it's a big decision, which it is a big decision. But they're also a little like, what?
I mean, in my defense, being significantly younger than my siblings, I didn't grow up with two of them really
Yeah.
because they are so much older. So that's one reason I don't have the same
Yeah.
connection, I guess. Not that that means you need to be sentenced to death, but that is an aspect of it. Well, if it came down to it, I would not let my siblings perish, but I'm not going to be first in line at the donation place. That's
Did
for
I
sure.
make you feel guilty? Did I make you feel
A
guilty,
little
Barrett?
bit, yeah. Now that but I understand her hesitance. I guess I wouldn't be quick to say yes immediately like I would with
Yeah.
one of them. But in the end, I wouldn't let them die. So I guess I would reluctantly give it to them. It would not be done with joy and love. It would be out of
See,
obligation and guilt.
I would immediately say yes, but then I would also be like, so is there any like money? Like, is
That
there?
would certainly help.
Yeah.
That would make a world of difference. But at least I'd weigh less. So
I mean,
that
yeah. Would you? Interesting. I don't even
I
know. I
assume
guess,
it must be at least a pound or two, I guess. Every little bit
yeah.
helps.
Every little bit does help. Trust me.
Not that
Well,
I'm
okay.
advocating for removing organs to lose weight, but
I'm giving myself a shot every week to lose weight. So trust me, I'm okay with putting whatever or taking out whatever I need to take out. So the next day, Blanche and Virginia's at the house and they're kind of having a moment. And I have a clip that from Sophia that is very much me in this situation. And I kind of love Sophia's take on all of this because it's just so, to me, it just makes sense. So let me play that clip real quick.
You gonna give it to her or not, Sophia? What does it mean, a little less bourbon?
It's a big decision, Sophia. She's got to think about it.
She's family. If you can't count on family, who the hell can you count on? She's Italian.
This is what I love about early season Golden Girls episodes. This is the 4th episode of season 1, is that I'm sure they had canned laughter at some parts to fill it out or whatever. But in there, they actually kept in that single clap that someone, and then they got embarrassed for being a single clap because they assumed everyone else would have it. And it was this sort of dance of clap, that to Sophia's line. Did you catch that? I loved that.
yes, I think because it was so early on and they didn't know the characters that much, they thought this was probably a typical sappy sitcom of, oh, here's a special moment, you can count on family, and it's really just her being a smartass. So they
Yeah.
probably didn't flesh it out. If this had been a few seasons later, I think it would have been a different reaction.
But I loved Sophia's take in this moment because I think she's right. I mean, even though Virginia is definitely treating Blanche with very much kid gloves in that, like, she wants to make sure she's like feathered and she's feeling good and she's whatever so that she can make a good decision so that Virginia can get what she needs out of the situation, which is a kidney so she can live. But Sophia is just like, there is no question. You just say yes and you go and you do it, which I kind of agree with Sophia.
Well, I think Virginia should have shown up looking way more sickly, you know, maybe on a stretcher, looking pale. She looked too fabulous. So in your mind, you're thinking, you don't need my little old kidney. So maybe that's what it was.
You're thinking like Sophia in chronic fatigue syndrome, where she's looking at Dorothy being like, take your makeup off. You look too healthy.
Exactly. And they're drinking coffee. I hope that was
Oh, yeah.
decaffeinated at least. You already.
Does that hurt the kidneys? I don't know.
I think you're not supposed to drink caffeine. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I feel like that's a thing because she brought up the Mormon lady and they don't drink coffee. So I assume there's a correlation there. Because
I think it's more about alcohol. I think that because that
Maybe
joke, well, we'll
both.
get to that joke. We'll get to that joke. But so, okay, well, let's take a break real quick and come back with the dramatic conclusion. I'm really eager to tell you about the connection between something that Sophia says later in this episode and the actual death of the actress who plays Virginia. It's coming and it's good. It's good. It's good. Stick around. And we are back. Dun, dun, dun. Will Blanche give Virginia her kidney? Let's find out. So Blanche is on the fence about what to do. And she goes, we eventually get to a place where she does think she comes to her senses and is like, yes, I'm going to do it. After a lot of back and forth, she just agrees to do it. Do you think it took her too long to get to that point?
I mean, if she was on the verge of death, that was a little bit of a wait. But I also feel like if Virginia had not come and done it in person, that would have garnered a different response and maybe even a different answer. It's easier to say no over the phone or a telegram, whatever they used back then. But if someone's right in your face begging for it, then not even begging. And I think that made it worse. Probably psychological manipulation that she would then be so understanding about, oh, I get it. Oh, don't worry, I'll just die. And I think that probably played, a part in it. And hopefully the fact that Lucy is her favorite niece, and I'm pretty sure Virginia was her mother, maybe
Oh,
that made a
yeah.
difference as well.
Oh, I
Maybe.
can see that. Oh, I didn't make that connection. You're so right. Well, so Blanche goes to the hospital, and that morning they also have to give the baby back. The baby has to leave, which, again, the baby served no purpose at all to this story. However, it did get us to this point in the episode where there is an epic back and forth between Sophia and Rose over hospitals that I would love to play that clip right quick.
I hate hospitals. My friend Matty Fishbein went into the hospital a healthy guy. Then boom, boom, dead. Just like that, in his sleep. 98 years old, no apparent cause.
I don't like hospitals either. They're full of germs. I always hold my breath in the elevators because there are sick people in the elevators and it's such a small space. And once I had to go to the 8th floor in a hospital and the elevator stopped on every floor and I had to hold my breath all that time. And I finally fainted and I hit my head and then I had to stay there because I had a concussion and I had to hold my breath all the way down in the elevator to the emergency room. Then I had to hold my breath in the x-ray where they ask you to hold your breath anyway. And then after...
I have great news.
Rose, excuse me, we'll get back to your fascinating hospital story later.
That back and forth is so fun, first off. But this also gets me to a point in the episode where I can talk about the death of Sheree North. So she died in 2003, not from old age, not from some long illness, but because she went into Cedars-Sinai Hospital for a routine surgery. She went in healthy. She was fine, and she died from complications from the surgery. It was not supposed to happen. I don't know if the family ever sued or anything, but she did die just like the friend, except she was young. She did die just like the friend that Sophia's talking about, that she went into the hospital for a routine surgery and never came out. And that is one of my biggest fears.
Really?
I mean,
can understand that does happen quite a bit.
It happens to Dorothy in a few episodes when she's doing the foot surgery and she's afraid she's never going to come out again or something. You know what I mean?
We need to look into this. Is there a Out on the Lanai Investigates podcast coming so we can solve the mysterious death of Virginia Sheree?
I mean, I think it just was accidental, but still, like it does scare. I mean, I have to go to the dentist after this, right? And I've heard random crazy stories of people going in for like a routine thing and then them dying of something because of a toothache. Barrett.
Well, I think what's important is that if something does happen, it'll be documented that I was the last person you talked to and I'll get to do all of the interviews. But hopefully you don't have to deal with that. And now they can't even give you anything good because of all the regulations. So maybe that's less things to affect you because they just want you to sit there and suffer through it now.
Wait, they can't give you things? Wait, explain this. I don't know what you mean.
They used to, when I was a kid, they would give me the gas all the time, the laughing gas, just pump it in me like it was nothing. Now they refuse, and they're doing way worse things to my teeth. They don't give Vicodin as easily as they used to. They don't give you anything because of the opioid epidemic. So they want you to just sit there and take it. So that's less things to affect you, but you will be in more pain. So there you go, bright side. You're welcome.
You really would kill Virginia, wouldn't you?
I mean, it depends. But I think that that whole exchange was so funny as well because they are the two that spend the most time in the hospital as the sunshine ladies, but they're saying
Yeah.
how they hate being in the hospital. So
That's
I
so
guess they got
true.
over their fears later
That
on.
that is so, so true. You're very right. I mean, I often talk about this. We talked about this, I think, on one of the past episodes, a few episodes ago, where in these early episodes, like you said, they're figuring out the characters and stuff, but they're also just sort of figuring out, like, I'm so amazed by Rose's change from season 1 going into later seasons because the character is always naive, is always, sometimes dumb, but like, I hate calling her dumb because I don't think she's dumb, but like, but she's naive and she becomes very naive in later seasons. But in the first season, she kind of straddles that sort of line between naive and like fully fledged lived woman who's intelligent and has like normal responses to things, but then occasionally says something crazy. You know what I mean?
She was a lot
And
more weird, I think, in some of her first episodes of the things that she would say.
yeah, they were out there sometimes. Like it got a little kooky sometimes. But I love where they took Rose, and I kind of wish she would have, like, been the dumb character from, like, day one because it just would have been so extreme in a way, Like, kinda like Phoebe on Friends. It would have been just so extreme from the beginning that it's just enjoyable.
Yeah, it is kind of always like that slow rise, like Karen Walker. I wouldn't say that she was dumb necessarily,
No.
but she was definitely a lot more weird and goofy than she was in the
Yes.
beginning. And I think that's kind of just the same thing we see with Rose. And
Mhm.
even into Golden Palace, there's another huge shift. It's like the evolution of Rose.
Yeah. You're right, so right on Karen Walker. That's so interesting that it's very similar to Rose and that, the characters both started off fairly normal in the first season or 2, and then by the end, they were full-on camp characters of
Yeah, I mean,
themselves.
Suzanne Sugarbaker. I mean, she had a freaking pig as a pet that she would
She
drive
also
around with.
too, you're right. Yeah, her too. Interesting. Those are interesting comparisons.
Uh,
So we have that moment, and then Blanche comes back from the hospital, and she is fine. She looks good. Clearly, no surgery happened,
yeah.
and this is the reason why. I'm going to play the clip.
Hello, everybody.
Blanche, what are you doing here? Is something wrong? I mean, we didn't expect you back so soon.
Oh, the best possible thing has happened. I still have both my kidneys and my sister's fine.
Blanche, how is that possible?
They couldn't use my kidney. My blood vessels were too small. But of course they're too small. I've always been very petite.
Now, I didn't look this up, but I don't know if I'm sure it's a real thing.
um,
Blood vessels too small.
Sounds questionable to me personally. Again, not a doctor,
Keep
but
talking. I'm going to find out.
I also love that at one point when, she makes the revelation that she does want to do this. She's the only family I have, minus my other sister, my other brother, my brother we meet on Golden Palace, my nieces and nephews, my father, Big Mommy, all those people don't count, I guess. But other
No.
than that, the only family she has.
It seems
And
like she's the
Mhm.
closest with this one because neither of them really love the other sister.
Yeah, poor Charmaine, who I always
Poor
forget is supposed
Charmaine.
to be the oldest because she doesn't really come off as the oldest when we do finally see her.
Yeah, no, she definitely does not come off
Interesting.
the oldest. So I Googled it and AI told me, and keep in mind, this is AI, so, whatever. Blood vessels can indeed be too small for quote unquote traditional surgery, particularly when they are less than 1 to 3 millimeters in diameter, which means that Blanche's blood cells are probably within 1 to 3 inches in millimeters, I should say, not diameter, millimeters.
Oh.
I think it's millimeter, whatever. It was mm. So yeah. So she is petite in her blood vessels.
So that's what she was doing in Ladies Petite. Good to know.
My blood vessels are petite, which is why I can be in this section.
I mean, it makes sense to me. I also want to shout out this baby that Dorothy has that has
Yeah.
no neck support the entire time and super stiff, just kind
Wait,
of
during
sitting
the
there.
scene?
Whenever other than when they show the real baby, every other time when Dorothy has what I assume was a doll or something, it's super stiff. She has no support under it, and it's just kind of sticking out like a loaf of French bread
Oh
almost.
my God, I love
And
that.
I could not
I
take
don't
my
like
eyes
French bread. Fuck French bread.
Mhm. Yeah, fuck it. Who needs it?
There's something about French. Whenever I eat spaghetti, we always pick up a thing of French bread, which okay, and we should be getting Italian bread, I suppose. But there's just something about French. But what is the difference between French and Italian bread, even?
I never thought about it until now. I guess is a baguette the same as just French
Well,
bread?
is baguette French bread? I don't think so. I think French bread is more airy.
I mean, I have a gluten allergy, so I'm not an expert, but I didn't always have celiac, and I did used to eat all the breads. Much like Oprah, I loved bread. Bread was a joy in my life. But I
Yeah.
don't know if I knew the ethnicities and nationalities of all of the different bread types until now. So now I feel like I have to go look into that. Thank you
Well,
for
challah is Jewish. We know that. That's all. We
got
can,
that.
and baguette is French. So those things are very clear. No. So okay. So like this Mormon school teacher was able to give Virginia her kidney, and I love how big the reaction was to the reveal that it was a Mormon school teacher, because I didn't know. I mean, I guess Mormons. I mean, was raised Mormon, and even today, Mormons are,
Really?
yes, even they're an anomaly in a lot of ways. But that joke that Blanche said got a big laugh. I was surprised at how big that laugh was.
I feel like Mormons get brought up a lot as comic relief, and maybe that wasn't
Yeah.
as much of a thing back then, but you would know. I was about to Google it till you said you were raised Mormon. Are they allowed to even donate organs?
They are allowed to donate organs.
Okay.
But the thing with Mormons is the whole joke hinges on people understanding that Mormons don't drink alcohol. That's the main thing. Don't drink alcohol. No stimulants. So caffeine is one of them. Drugs is one of them. Cigarettes, of course. Chocolate to some degree. But I always said it whenever I was a kid. Every good Mormon family has that secret refrigerator in the garage that holds all of the soda and other things that you don't want the missionaries to see when they come over. And so there's always you need a soda? It's decaf.
Mm.
Wink, wink, wink.
I don't know if I knew that they couldn't have any stimulants, so the Osmonds are just naturally that perky.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yikes.
Isn't that crazy? I love the thing with Marie Osmond. There's a new commercial on that she has and she has such like a 70s showwoman way of talking where she'll say something like this. I'm gonna do an imitation. It's not gonna be a great one, so just please stand by. But she'll be like, I've always wanted to lose a couple pounds, and who can't relate to wanting to lose a couple pounds? Like she laughs at her own joke, but the joke isn't funny. And the laugh is very big, and it's also fake, but yet it's genuine to her because she is fake.
I can see that, and it works because I think I've seen that same one, and I'm like, "Can I just eat all of my vegetables in a pill? Do I never need to eat vegetables
Oh
again?"
yeah,
It's very
that is
convincing.
it is very convincing. Honestly, if Marie Osmond told me to do something, I would do it.
I can see why Betty White wanted to play her mother in their sitcom.
Yeah,
It kind
yes,
of fits,
that was
actually.
a good sitcom, actually. We covered that on this show.
Agreed.
But I also love that. Well, Marie Osmond is actually kind of in the news right now in my news, because so in the last episode, as of this recording, we're recording this on Monday, January 26th. But as of this recording, the last episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, Briar Blush, she fainted on stage, and famously, Marie Osmond also fainted in front of the judges on Dancing with the Stars, and it was one of my favorite moments because it got me on Dancing with the Stars because I was doing jokes about Marie Osmond at my set, whatever. And they put me on as like a talking head thing. But Marie Osmond, she's a show woman. She is. She will never, and the face will never change. She will always look the same
Through and through. Well,
through and through.
now I'm picturing her if they ever did any type of Golden Girls-esque show again, she could definitely be a Rose-type character.
She really could. She really, really could. You're so right.
'Cause it would be genuine from her.
But yeah, so this woman, this school teacher, has perfect kidneys because she's never had any stimulants in her body
Showroom new.
whatsoever. Yes, showroom new,
A
and even
little
that got a massive laugh. And then I do love at the end they want to celebrate, right? And so Sophia wants to go somewhere and gamble, and Rose wants to go to Disney World or something, and then Blanche, her suggestion, which I kind of thought was a good suggestion. She wants to go to a bar in Cocoa Beach for over the hill astronauts. I think this is a great thing to do.
That sounds fun to me. Could have been a little I Dream of Jeannie crossover type situation. They could have had Major Nelson there. I would definitely have liked to see that, but they decide that they just want to eat
No,
ice
they didn't decide. Dorothy decided. She did a
cream.
twist.
Or they decided for the group.
She did a twist. She pinched Blanche that looked like a hard pinch, too.
Yeah, in those first couple of episodes, it seemed like she was really like giving it to them for real with the headlocks
Yeah.
and them.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because there was no cheesecake introduced officially, they had to settle for the
Yes.
rocky road since
Mhm.
they already had the chicken wings and grapes from earlier when she went in there. Yum.
Yeah. Yum. Yum. Chicken wings and grapes actually does kind of sound good.
I might try that later. Maybe if they have another Golden Girls pop up, that'll be one of the meals that they'll have if they want
I
to be.
doubt it. I doubt it. I
Mhm.
have a feeling those pop-ups stick to the standard fare of cheesecake-related items for sure. But yeah, they do end on there's no cheesecake. They go crazy over some rocky
And
road
shove Sophia
ice
out of the
cream.
way. She couldn't even get in the door.
No, she couldn't. That poor old woman. But so what ice cream would make you take your panties off for it?
I'm not a huge ice cream person.
Neither am I.
I
Neither am
eat
I.
very slowly, and I feel so rushed to hurry up so it doesn't melt. This sounds like a like something Rose would say. But even
Yeah.
as a little kid, I would go to Dairy Queen. I'm like, "Can I get mine in a cup, please? Because I'm not going to eat it fast enough on a cone."
And the
But
guy behind the counter is like, I didn't need to know all that, kid.
but
Just tell me
were
what you
I
want.
to get ice cream, since you're from Missouri, I don't know if you're familiar with Culver's.
Yes,
They're
I'm
pretty
very familiar
good,
with
and
Culver's.
Oberweis.
Uh-huh.
So probably one of those. And for our Southern people, they don't have it here, but Bluebell ice cream
Oh,
is pretty tasty. I would
I like a
say
Bluebell.
Bluebell.
Yeah, see, I don't have a brand of ice cream that I go for. It's more of a type. To me, there is nothing better than a McDonald's soft serve ice cream. Yeah, soft serve in general, like a soft swirl ice cream. I don't care where it's from. Now I've been told that Chick-fil-A has a very good soft serve ice cream. I
I
have
wouldn't
never
know.
I've never done it. I've never done it, but I would do it. But McDonald's, there is just something like because I don't really eat fast food that often, but my boyfriend Michael does, and so we'll go to McDonald's and I'll get the ice cream cone if the weather's accommodating. Because if it's too cold, I'm not getting the ice cream cone, and then I'll just eat
Too
it.
cold. It's 10 degrees here, please.
I
Too
mean, it's not it's like 60 something here, I think. What is
cold.
today? Yeah, the high is 72 actually. So but if it's too cold, I'm not getting it. And too cold for me is 68. But I will eat it on the way home, and there is just something so good about a soft serve ice cream with some sprinkles on top, and you lick and you lick and you lick, and then you gotta eat the cone and
This
so
is not
good.
sounding appealing. Now, I don't know if I have had McDonald's ice cream in the last few decades. People always say the ice cream machine never works. So even if I wanted it, I wouldn't even attempt. So I wouldn't get my heart broken.
It's worked most of the time for me recently. I think McDonald's has picked up that people have made this into a joke, and now they're just gonna be like, "Joke's on you, it's always on now."
Okay, now when I go and get one, I feel like I did when they had the dollar menus and they had dollar Sundays. That was
Yeah.
probably the last time. So maybe I'm gonna give one a try and
You
do a little
should.
taste test to see if it's everything you built it up to be.
I
'Cause
think it
now
will
I'm
be.
expecting a lot.
I expect a picture of you eating that ice cream when it happens. Okay, well, let's take a break and come back with our golden takeaways from this episode. Are you prepared for that, Barrett?
I'm gonna have to be.
You're gonna have to be, yeah. We'll be right back. And we are back with our golden takeaways, which is a nugget of truth or inspiration that you can apply to your life or the lives of our listeners. I'll start to give you some time to think, Barrett. My golden takeaway from this episode is if a family member comes to you and it's a family member that maybe, like I was trying to think, is there a family member I wouldn't give my kidney to? And then I thought, yeah, there's one, the one who so at my brother's wedding, I had this one family member, a cousin, a distant cousin of mine, but I know him, he's a cousin. He was in prison for a long time for something meth related. And I hadn't seen him since I was a little kid, and I was a full grown adult at this point. And he comes up to me and he's like, "Hi, it's great to see you." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're doing so well. You're sober and everything. That's great." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you and I actually we have a lot in common." And I was like, "What? What do we have in common?" And because I was like, I don't think we got anything in common, dude.
Hmm.
But he goes, sometimes when I sold meth, I had to suck dick. So I can, he's straight, but he's like, so I can relate to your lifestyle. And I was just like, okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So I
Wasn't
got to
expecting
thinking,
that.
say that
Uh,
again.
I was not expecting that's where this story was going, so I'm
Yes.
still
So,
registering.
yeah. So I got to thinking, is there a family member I wouldn't give my kidney to? And I think I would even give my kidney to him. I think I would.
Mm, so
Yeah.
generous.
So that's my golden takeaway from this episode is that I'm a giving person and I will give my kidney away to someone who is delusional.
Well, let me have it then, since you're so
Sure.
generous.
You can
You
have
got
it,
2 of 'em.
but it ain't clean. I've been drinking the soda.
Uh,
What's your golden
well,
takeaway?
I think that, I do talk a lot of shit about people in my family as far as my care and concern for them as individuals in the world. A cousin of mine texted me the other day, "Oh, are you going to the reunion?" I said, "I know nothing about it, so I guess I'm not invited." But
You were quick. You were quick to
yeah,
that one. You were
it's like
quick to
I
be angry about that one, weren't you?
excommunicated.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, I would probably I can't I mean, it's hard to think of who I wouldn't give it to. It's hard to think of who I would give it to. But at the end of the day, I don't think I would let anybody with any blood ties to me perish if there was something that I could do about it that wasn't going to significantly impact me in a negative way. Yeah, that's my takeaway that like Blanche, we have our issues, but at the end of the day, I'm probably still gonna do it. This is not a sign to come asking me for organs, anyone related to me, but, you know, it's
So the
family.
takeaway is you can have my kidney, but you're never going to hear the end of it.
Yeah. In fact, that's more a reason to want to give it to you so I have something to hold over your head and willpower as the
Yeah.
years go by. Yes,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, Barrett, thank you so much for doing this. So appreciate it. Definitely stick around for the golden for the stay golden at the end. But before we do that, where can people follow you? Follow the new podcast. Of course, I'll put all the links in the show notes of this episode. But tell them where to go.
Well, I have branched out beyond the Golden Girls, but I will always love them. And you can still follow me at So Good We Named It on all social media and all episodes of Beyond the Grapes now streaming. And look out for the Big Half and Half Rewatch Podcast coming soon.
Nice, nice. And thank you so much for listening. Of course, we'll be back next week for more Golden Girls greatness. You can follow me on social media. I'm at HAlanScott and Sadie Pines on everything. You can also follow us on social media at Golden Girls Pod on Twitter, Out on the Lanai Official on Instagram, Golden Girls Pod on Facebook. And of course, we are part of Mom Moguls of Media, part of Forever Dog. So please go support Mom Plus. We appreciate that. And you can, of course, follow Kerri on social media at her Squidsy and Squid Eat Squid accounts. She needs to brand better. And please rate us and review us. It does help us out a lot. You know how that works. So go this new year, give us a little rating and review and subscribe on YouTube and all of the other things that you can do. You know how the internet works. And then, Barrett, this is where we do it. This is where we do it. And remember, as
Always
stay golden. Yay. Yay. Can I have a kidney?
Let me get back to you on that.
Out on the Lanai is not endorsed by Whit Thomas Harris Productions, Touchstone Television, Disney, or any of its subsidiaries. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only.
All names, pictures, audio, and video clips of the Golden Girls are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and/or copyright holders.